Hello, paranormal people! Welcome to another episode of ParanormalWarehouse.com. Week in review. Okay, we are going from April 6th to April 12th. It's a little bit later on in the week, but at least we got it done this week, which is something new. We talked about this last week, but I wanted to bring up the Paranormal For Paws Expo. It's a great show, bunch of speakers, and it's also raising money to help our furry friends. I will put all the information in the comments below. Check it out. If you're in the area, head on over there. The tickets are cheap, and you're really getting a big bang for your buck. So help support the animals, and check out the information for the Paranormal For Paws Expo. Hey, let's head back into the forums. We actually have an old conversation that has just been brought back to life. It's on the Ovilus. If you know anything about this device or had an experience with this device, go in there. If you even have random information about it, go on in there. We want to hear what you have to say. Join the conversation in the ParanormalWarehouse.com forum. I just got back from SalemCon, and I had a great time. It was amazing seeing everyone, and the event itself was awesome. I was lucky enough to lecture at this event. It's one of my first big lectures, and it was the start of my lecture series called Moving Forward. The audience was amazing. We had a great conversation after the lecture. And basically what it's about, it's things that we may be able to do to kind of move the paranormal field forward and into the future and doing even greater things. I'm going to attach the video at the end of this video so you can check it out. I would love to hear your comments. Anything you think that I should add to future lectures, let me know. So check it out. I hope you guys enjoy. At the end of every week in review, I really want to thank the people that joined ParanormalWarehouse.com this week. So here we go. Melinda Henderson. Already I can't talk. Connor Vanstey. Charlotte Hodges. Shane Town. Cindy Gostad. Litsa Rivas. Steven. Just Steven. He has a dope beard in his picture. Gina Bankston. And Carmelo Rizzo, thank you guys for joining, and thank you guys for listening in. We want to always be in contact with you guys, so throw some things in the comments below, something you'd want us to add to this show, change, whatever. Also, check out ParanormalWarehouse.com. It's what keeps us doing this. It is an all-free membership. We would love to get more teams in there to build our community, share evidence, share ideas. So thank you guys for listening, and peace. So I started to look into things, I started to read books. This was when I was like 11 years old, you know, so they didn't really have much out. It was kind of a taboo topic, but things started coming out. I remember seeing a lot of stuff with the Warrens, because they did stuff early on, so I found that information, and as time went on, I was still interested in it, and you start to realize, like, holy crap, there's something to this. Like, you could actually go in here, do some research, find things. There might actually be some validity to this. So, like how all good ideas happen, I was drinking at Mohegan Sun Casino with my friend, and we came up with the idea to create ParanormalWarehouse.com. Basically what it is, it's a social media website. I wanted to create a place to bring the community together, to share evidence, to share ideas, to share theories. I feel like there's like a big, for whatever reason, there's a lack of sharing, a fear of sharing. I always get the thing where, you know, it's a public residence, or they don't want that to be released, which I totally understand. But the reason why we put this up, it's so hard. There's so many of us now that to find one website and to see that piece of evidence, which could be huge or super important to what we're doing, like it could be mind-blowing. The chances of it being seen are slim, just because there's so many of us. So I put this together to bring everyone together and to kind of create a central place to develop what we all love to do. She's just dual wielding right now. So I wanted to talk about belief and skepticism. It's people don't really like to talk about skeptics. Who here has kind of had like shisty feelings towards skeptics, or heard that? Boom, you know. So the word, I'll start with belief first, and the word skeptic isn't as bad as it seems. So the definition for belief, it's an acceptance that a statement is true, or that something exists, or a trust, faith, or confidence in someone or something. So a belief, although I believe in things, I think belief helps drive you to do things, but belief is not completely knowing. Believing is you believe. What I think we need to do is kind of use our beliefs to drive us and motivate us, but don't let it influence you while we're doing this research. Who are researchers in this audience? Yeah? Alright, good. So, like, these are a couple of things. We just talked about orbs. I'm probably going to get, like, tomatoes or something thrown at me, but, so, if you could click, please, Rob. Thank you. So, orbs, okay? It's, you know, like was said, if it's going to make someone feel better, thinking that their grandmother is chilling with them and hanging out, that's great. But for you guys, it just has to be known that these things that I'm going to show you, and the only reason I'm showing you these pictures and the next thing that I'm going to show you is because I know that these things are not paranormal. So these things have been researched for years by photographers who have been dealing with these things for way longer than we have. To them, it's a problem. They're trying to get Susie and Jim on their wedding day, and you got these things floating around. So they've done research. These are not paranormal. This is, whenever it's gray, it's dust. These colorful ones, people like to say, well, why do they have color? It's mostly pollen and moisture. Moisture is going to come out as blue. That's why the ocean is blue. It's how light reflects off of the water. And the colorful pollen is like green or yellow, and that's just because that's the color of the pollen. And you got to understand, if you take a snapshot, it's capturing the image like right in front of the camera. So those dust, they're called dust particulates in front of the camera, are what are being captured. So they look huge. Sometimes they could be as big as a person, like as big as your head or a basketball, but really it's not. It's really just right up against the camera. Also, these are other pieces of dust just like zigzagging around. I've gotten these. And one of my first pieces of evidence, I was in Dudleytown in Connecticut, and I got something similar to this. I was flipping out, me and my buddy Steve, and my friend Meredith, we all went out, and we captured one of these, and you realize that it's an insect. So, you know, I tell that story because, yeah.
Never. Like an orb can never be anything. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm saying that pictures that look like these, you could use these as a reference to look at, to be like, all right, it looks like this, it's probably not what it is. Now, I've seen pictures that have craziness in it, where it's like, you know, they call it ectoplasm, or it's a very amorphous shape, or it's taking up like crazy stuff. I'm just showing you these pictures because I know that these are not. So, and they pop up all the time. Like, you know, people get orb pictures all the time, especially the dust ones. And it's just, like I said, I'm not trying to burst bubbles here, but it's just, if you guys are going out there and doing this, it's important for you to be like, okay, like I know this now, so I'm not going to tell somebody else. And then it doesn't create that problem of like, I think that's my grandma in the photo. It would just be a known thing of like, oh, this is dust. And then that problem doesn't exist. Like I said, you know, I'm not trying to bring people down. I've been in that situation. I've seen family members go through this kind of thing where comfort is a big deal. But if we know and we squash it over time, we won't have that problem. So, boom, next one. Another one you guys are going to hate me on is the flashlight experiment. Now, if you have a button flashlight and that thing goes on, that's some dope shit right there, okay? Because if someone's pushing that button, thanks for the laugh. Thanks for the laugh. If someone's pushing that button or activating that trigger, I don't really know if there's, you know, maybe there is some sort of scientific explanation, but I think that's more profound. So what people usually do in this experiment is that they'll, you know, you take a mag light where you can screw the top, and you put it on the brink of being lit and being not lit. I'm so glad I made this choice to use this podium. I just feel good up here on this thing. So what you're doing is you put it on the brink, and usually it'll start on And what happens is, if you go to this, when the flashlight is off, there's a little connector piece that tells the energy from the battery to go up to the flashlight to turn it on. Now, when it's off, it'll cool down the metal. And you know how when metal heats up, it expands. So when it cools down, it's going to shrink it down, and then it'll make contact. When it makes contact, it'll slowly heat up, expanding that little piece of metal. And if you could go backwards, Rob, it'll eventually push it back up, and then it'll cool down, and it'll turn back on. Anyone can take this flashlight and put it in their living room, and it'll go on and off over and over and over again. So it's just another one of these experiments, and I picked these because a lot of people still use them, but it's one of the ones where it's like, just, it's known that this is what's going on. And again, if you want to try to do stuff with flashlights, go ahead. Like, I think that's a great experiment. It's just this kind of situation I wouldn't do just because we know what it is. So, skepticism. There's two definitions for skepticism. One's a turd, one is not. So, pseudo-skeptics, they're the kind of people, they're the no people, where I know this is not something, okay? They make extreme statements, I know this does not exist. It'll usually denigrate or dismiss carefully documented evidence. And I talk about documentation because that's kind of like what this whole speech is going to be about. But a true skeptic, which I am, and I think everybody should be, they're critical questioners, they suspend his or her beliefs, they're open to changing their mind or growing in light of new evidence, and they're not afraid to say, I don't know. Okay? When it comes to paranormal stuff, I don't care who you are, nobody knows what's really going on. Okay? This is open in the field. Yeah, I cannot definitively say that ghosts are real or know what ghosts are. It's just, it's kind of an irresponsible thing to say, I definitely know this. Like, when they talked about saying, oh, this is a demonic presence on a TV show, that's the most outrageous thing I've ever heard. Nobody knows if this is a demon talking to them. It's ridiculous. So it's these, since I'm wearing a Star Wars hat, a Jedi doesn't do extremes, so you have to be in the middle, okay? I can't believe I just made a Jedi reference. It might have been a low point in my life. So try to stay in the middle. Again, if you have beliefs, let that drive you. Be motivated by your beliefs. But don't let it influence what you're seeing. Just because you want something to happen really bad doesn't mean that you should allow yourself to be manipulated by it. I think this is what it is, so I'm going to say it's this. You have to use critical thinking. It's of uber importance in doing this stuff, I think. Boom. Oh, that was going to help you read, but whatever. So, I just saw Interstellar, and I took this clip. I probably stole it. Christopher Nolan. Thanks, bro. So, Rob, if you could click it. I saw this scene, and I was blown away in the theater when I saw this. So, Rob, if you could go over there and just press it.
Dad, can you fix this?
What the heck you do to my
It
lantern?
wasn't me.
You guys,
Is it already make it louder?
It knocked it off my shelf. It's not in the books.
don't stand as ghost, dumbass. Hey,
I looked it up. It's called
Sorry.
poltergeist.
Dad, tell her. Oh, it's not very scientific, Nurse.
You said science is about...
Get out to there. Yeah. Start looking at our stuff. Cool. If you want to... I'm just telling you that you're afraid of some ghost. Well, you gotta go further. You gotta record the facts, analyze, get to the how and the why, then present your conclusions. You?
Yeah.
If I could do a McConaughey, I would recreate what that happened. But first off, I don't think any man is probably as handsome as that guy, and I cannot be as cool as his voice. So basically what happened is McConaughey, his daughter was saying that has anyone seen the movie? Really cool movie if you're like into the science kind of stuff or sci-fi. But the daughter is saying that she is having a ghostly experience. The brother immediately dismisses her, you're being an idiot. And kind of Matthew McConaughey at the same time is like, I don't know, bro, you broke my stuff. And the father influences him and he says, you know what? If you think it's a ghost, you have to go about it, you have to collect research, you have to document it and back it up. And she goes, okay. And they build on that later on in the film. So 3 types of research. A lot of people say you can't research in this field. There's no way to have like data. That's not true. There's applied research, quantitative research where it's like dealing with numbers, and what we're dealing with is qualitative research. And what it is, it's pretty much observational. It's what you see. So we can collect data in this field. You could go to a place and you could observe and keep going back. And a thing with my website is I promote posting evidence and not withholding these things, because if you see a bunch of things captured at a specific location and they're all the same, what are the chances of that? Very slim. If you get an EVP that's saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, that is qualitative data that we can then use to make ourselves more legitimate. Because this field is a joke. And I'm not saying that personally, I'm saying that from the eyes of everybody else. We are a tight-knit community that supports each other, which is awesome, but science as a whole throws us out the window. And qualitative research is important because it's something that we can all do. We can all observe, and we can all record that stuff. That's not beyond us. So, experimentation, again, it sounds really hard, but it really isn't. So, to create an experiment, anyone can create an experiment. I just had a guy, Tim, who's on the website, that's one of my buddies, and he just had a thing where he's going to hook up a battery, and I'm probably ruining, not saying it properly, but he's hooking up a battery to a device that records how much energy is in it, and he's just putting it in a haunted location one night and measuring how low it goes. And then another night, and then another night, and then another night. And this is an easy experiment to see if this energy is being drained irregularly or if it's happening normally. This is any type of experiment. If you guys sit here for 5 minutes and talk to each other, you could come up with hundreds of experiments to do. But it has to be, the problem with the shows is that they're walking around with a shit ton of different equipment and just kind of firing off different things. What I would do is pick something that you like. If you like doing EVPs, stick with that. If you like working with EMF, stick with that. And develop something that you can really test over and over and over again. Because it's that repetition of result that can help prove what's going on. Oh, so science teacher. Oh my goodness. All right. So, again, scientific method. It's been changed multiple times, but it's just the basic thing. Purpose, think about what you're doing, gather background information. It's important. That's why we do these interviews with other people. You go to them, what's going on here? You hear someone saying, Timothy, great. Whatever. If you get that, it'll back it up. Hypothesis, kind of guess what you're doing. List your materials, that's always important. Put your results down, boom, conclusion. Okay? So, and presentation is definitely important. People who do the shows, awesome. It's a great way to go out there and display it to people. I feel many different ways about the shows because people will say a lot of negative things about all of the shows, but you got to remember that also took this out of taboo. People saw ghost hunters and they're like, oh shit, this is kind of cool, It's not like a wacky person kind of thing to do. So presenting is super important. If you're going to present it in the type of a show, or if you're going to present it on your own. If people do the shows, I would also try to find a way to present your evidence where maybe towards the end or something you could have a recap of what happened, and just so it's it's just easier to document and easier to put together. So what my future plan is to create a database that's going to be associated with the warehouse. And what my dreams are is that people could go on these investigations and record all their stuff. It's like a pre-made form where you could fill it out and write down your experience. You could link videos that you post on the warehouse to it. And it's just you could type in Hawthorne Hotel. Boom. You can see everything that everyone's ever done there. And I think it's super important, and it's just a really important way to legitimize what we're doing. And I think click one more time. Right? Sorry. And nope. Yeah, thank you. So, people are like, why don't we just, I'm just doing this for fun. why do we have to work so hard on this? And I think it's stuff like I'm about to show you that describes why we should be working hard for this. And these are different EVPs. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that is a haunting realization. Anytime I hear something asking for help, it really does rock me to the core, and it makes me wonder, like, what the hell's going on? Why are they asking for help? Like, when someone is and you can hear desperation in these EVP. Like, it's not like it's a happy thing whatsoever. And I think it's for this kind of stuff that you got to think and be like, all right, I'm going to start putting some time in, and I'm going to try to change what I'm doing and work for this to the better. And like I said, I did not put this speech together to like put people down. I'm just trying to spread information out there, give you some knowledge on how to do this better, and to like bring this community together as a whole. And I would hope that you guys would try to like help spread this too. So I ended it with a quote. Anyone here Slipknot fans? So Corey Taylor, the lead singer, wrote a book about the paranormal. And there's a quote in there that stuck out, and I immediately highlighted it. And it says, "The pale fabric of reality has so many hidden pockets that we could find some change in here somewhere. You just have to dig a little deeper to avoid the chewing gum and past mistakes." So I just hope that this gets out here somehow, and I really believe in us, and there's so many of us now that we can really make a change and propel this forward. And if you put a little bit of time in, and a little bit of effort, I really think we can do it. So thank you for letting me bring everybody down. And you guys have any questions?